Awesome. Good evening, Mount Vernon. Today is June 25th, 2025, and it's our regular city council meeting. Just some housekeeping for those in the chambers. If you have a cell phone, please put it on vibrate or silent. In addition, if you need to use the restroom, the women's restroom is right outside the double door on the right-hand side. The men's restroom is straight outside the double doors to the main staircase, and it'll be on the right-hand side as well. If we have an emergency, there are two exits in here. There's an exit in the back labeled exit, and then the double doors. The staircase, there's a set of staircase on the right-hand side. It'll take you down to the ground level if necessary, or the main staircase, which is straight ahead outside of the double doors. Before we get started, let's have the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Caitlin Gleason. All right, so this is a Wednesday meeting. We do have public speakers. However, we're gonna start with a presentation from Grace Baptist. And we have one of our land use attorneys here with us, Jody. Jody, do you want to give any precursory comments before we invite them up?
Thank you. Good evening, Jody Cross from Zarin and Steinmetz on your behalf. So this is a reintroduction of a project and submission and the submission of a rezoning petition. They were in here last summer to discuss the project conceptually. They're now submitting a rezoning petition formally. This is just the start of the process. We expect that the applicant's going to be working with staff and in consultation to submit whatever documentation is necessary to support their petition. The only action that your council is to take tonight would be to accept the petition for processing. And I'm here for any questions if the council has.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I will invite up Grace Baptist. Clerk, are you going to be sharing the slides or will they be? Okay.
Great, thank you. So good evening, Council President, members of the council. My name is Janet Garris. I'm a partner with Del Bello, Dinellen, Weingart, Wise Whitaker, and I'm here this evening on behalf of Grace Baptist Church in Mount Co. You have before you a petition that we submitted on behalf of Grace Baptist Church. They intend to enter into a JV with Mount Co Construction and Development for the redevelopment of property that is located. It's 3 parcels. If you could just flip the slide, that'd be great. So it is 3 parcels that are located. The first is at 70 South 6th Avenue, 47 2nd Street West, and 60 South 6th Avenue. And together they comprise approximately 6.8 acres. Adjacent to that is the Grace Baptist Church, which is led by the incomparable Dr. Reverend W. Franklin Richardson, who is joining me this evening, who became the 9th pastor of the church in 1979. The church was founded in 1888, and its first church building was constructed in 1891. And the church, which is a multicultural center grounded in the African-American tradition, has over 2,500 congregants. And so we are very excited to be here on their behalf. Also, together with Mount Co. Mount Co specializes in the development of multifamily residential and commercial projects in both the private and public sectors. The company focuses on community-driven initiatives that yield developments of enduring value in surrounding neighborhoods. So I know you're very familiar with them. They have a number of projects in Mount Vernon. And As Ms. Cross said, we appeared before you. It was just a year and a day ago. So it was June 24, 24, and here we are on June 25, 25. And we presented at that time our proposed project for the property. If you could just flip the slide, that would be great. Since that time, we've worked with your professional staff and consultants, and we've reduced the size and the scale of the project from what we presented to you last summer, so that it conforms with the parameters that are contained in the city's Downtown Vision Report. The Downtown Vision Report, as I'm sure you are aware, was adopted by you in January of 2024, and it identifies guiding principles for consideration in the preparation and adoption of the city's final comprehensive plan, and it examines opportunities within the downtown and provides recommendations to guide future development. The Downtown Vision Report was intended to lay a framework for the City Council to consider when adopting any zoning amendments while the comprehensive plan is being finalized. So again, we've been working with your professional staff and consultants over the course of the last year. The project has been reduced slightly. And as shown on the slides, it is now proposed to consist of 262 dwelling units. So it was reduced in height. We were originally proposing 17 stories. We've reduced the height to 15 stories with a 262 dwelling units, a unit mix of 23 studios, 115 one bedrooms, 100 two bedrooms, 24 three bedrooms. That unit mix was designed in consultation with your planning commissioner. These units are intended to be offered to working families with incomes at or below 80% of area median income. And as you know, there is a really large demonstrated demand for more housing. So we are excited to bring this project to you. In addition to the 262 dwelling units, we are also proposing approximately 11,188 square feet of office space on 2 floors of that building. And some of that square footage will be set aside for the city of Mount Vernon and will also be used as office space for the church. In addition to that, we now include 114 on-site structured parking spaces beneath the building. And we are proposing a number of amenities for the tenants, including storage areas, bicycle storage, laundry facilities, computer, fitness, and community rooms, landscaped roof terraces on the 3rd floor, and outdoor roof access on the 12th, 14th, and the roof of the building. So as I mentioned, we worked very hard to pare down the project to make it something that would be financially feasible, but would also provide the housing for residents. And as we said in our petition, the existing zoning in that area, one of the lots is located in the NB district, and the others are located in the, I'm sorry, 2 in the NB and 1 in the RMF 6.75. The existing zoning doesn't permit multifamily, and so we're seeking rezoning from you. We're not sure what that zoning is going to be, and that's one of the things that we wanted to discuss with you and your professional staff. So proposal is substantially consistent with the Downtown Transit Oriented Arts District, which is currently under review. And that district is proposed about 1,000 feet from the property. So our petition does contain a zoning chart, and that zoning chart shows the parameters of the proposed project. If you could just flip. So we can come back to the elevations, but you can, if you could just flip to the zoning table, which is one more. There you go. So that zoning table is part of our petition. It shows the parameters of the proposed project. And as I mentioned, the project is consistent with the city's Downtown Vision Report, and it is substantially in conformance with your, again, your Downtown Transit Oriented Arts District. So I think that we wanted to just come back to you this evening, show you what we've been working on over the course of the last year, have you accept this petition and direct us to move forward with this. We would be working with your professional staff and consultants We would try to get started with the secret process. We just recently got a planner on board, and so our petition did not include an environmental assessment form. That is currently under preparation. The project is a type 1 action under SECRA, and we, as I mentioned, are in the process of preparing that full environmental assessment form. What we'd like to do is have that prepared over the course of the next several weeks and submit that to you. And to come back then before you to have you declare intent to be lead agency under SECRA, authorize that circulation, and then give us the summer to work on the various studies and reports that you would need to consider our proposal and to consider the zoning. If ultimately you approve the zoning for this property, we would also need obviously site plan approval from the planning board. So I just wanted to go through that with you. The Reverend is here if he would like to say a few words. Joel Mounty, who is the principal of Mountco, is here as well. I know you're familiar with all of us, and we look forward to working with you, and we're here to answer any questions you might have, understanding that we are in the preliminary stages of planning.
Good evening. It's good to be here and to see all of you. I stand here on behalf of the Grace Congregation that has had this project in mind for now more than 5 years. We started out as a result of COVID. When COVID came, we were in the process and had approval to build a congregational building that would give us a larger capacity and help us to be more equipped. However, once COVID came, 2 weeks before we were supposed to go into development, we decided with the congregation that we would pivot because we didn't trust the fact that we needed a congregation as large as the one we were proposing, which was about 2,000 people on Sunday. And we decided that we would reverse and help this community by helping the whole circle around the parking lot become an economic engine. We think that this building will create an opportunity for the development of all of that and not allow that section of the town to go down. Building can be a magnet for residents. It is not a building that is a building that includes workforce housing so that people will feel that they want to live there. It's next to the church. It is a continuation of the social justice component of the church's ministry. And we are prepared to do all we can to assist the city in helping make this project a shining star in Mount Vernon and help to bring the economic engine that is needed in the south side of Mount Vernon. It's in our best interest as a congregation to care about what happens in the community. We are not a church that is trying to take people to heaven. We're trying to bring some heaven where the people are. We're trying to eliminate inequality and eliminate poor housing. We have had an experience of fighting this fight for more than 30 years. There are 4 buildings in this city that have been built by this congregation to help improve the lives of people. I remember when we started to build housing, I remember seniors come up to me and say, "Pastor, I have nowhere to live." And I would sit with them and we were able to build the first housing project. It was accompanied by the city's assistance with Mayor Blackwood on 7th Avenue. It's now called the Grace House. And it has been a way to give people who had unhealthy housing. And we continued it to 3rd Street, and we continued it to 5th Avenue, where the Ruth Thompson building has been erected. So it's been a long commitment to us to help lift this community, to be economically sufficient, to be a place where people want to live and come, and to just move out. We took on what I think is the most aggressive thing was when we built 14-tower building on 3rd Street in an attempt to try to energize that. There are many pockets in the community on the south side that can be energized, and we want to be a part of that. And we solicit the council's approval and authority to help us get forward with this. We think it's for the good of the city And it is also the best use, in my opinion, of the land we originally purchased to build a bigger church, to make it a servant, even a greater servant, to the people who live in Mount Vernon and many of my congregants who live here in this area. It's an opportunity for upward, raising the quality of life and attractiveness for our city. So I am delighted to be here today. We have some of the members of the congregation, but I'm grateful for your considering this, and I hope we can expedite it. As I said, we've been working on this for 5 years, right after COVID, and we were here a year ago. But we remain diligent, we remain determined to make this happen, and we solicit the help of the council to make it realized. We've talked to the governor, I've talked to her even this week. They are now setting up ways to provide preliminarily the resources that we will need funding at the governor's level. We've already have in the city council, in the county's budget, $15 million that has been put there for land purchase and for improving the parking lot. That might be adjusted in these negotiations with your planning department, but these things are already in work. And Mount Vernon has an opportunity to bring what I think is a high quality project in partnership with the community, not just a coal development. Joel Monte has been our partner, Monco has been our partner for these years. And it has been, I think it's important that developments have community support and are monitored by the people who live in the community and feel a part of it. So this building is not somebody jumped in and developed a building. This is a building that grew out of the people and grew out of the congregation that's been here since 1888. So thank you tonight. And I hope that we will be able to together move forward and make the changes necessary to make this happen. Thank you.
I'm sure everybody heard he's a tough act to follow. I'll start with a couple of prayers and then we'll warm up the crowd a little bit. But I thank you very much for allowing us to be here this evening. As you heard, I'm Joel Mounty and I'm the principal of Malco. I'm actually the sole owner of Malco. This is my 27th year, of Malco's 27th year working in the city of Mount Vernon. We started with Unity Gardens in partnership with Unity Tabernacle. We're, in addition to being in partnership with Grace Baptist, we're in partnership with Macedonia Church on Macedonia Towers. And prior to all that, got to be close to 40 years, I worked on in-town towers, right out when I started in the construction business. Our role here, Malco's role here is we're the economic partner in the project. We build, we develop, we manage. We put all the, as I always say, the hammers and nails together to make the dream come true for Grace. We're very proud of our partnership with Grace, and we're very happy to do this project. Thank you.
That conclude? All right. Does that conclude the presentation?
Yes.
Thank you. So Jody, when we're doing the agenda, that's when we'll do the motion.
I'm sorry?
During the agenda period, we'll take care of the motion.
Sure. I mean, you could do it if that's how you prefer, but yes, that's the only
All right.
action you could take today is the motion.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate you. I was excited that there were so many people. But apparently you guys didn't come to see the meeting. But thank you all for coming out. Great presentation. So I think when we get into our legislative session, we'll do the motion and we'll vote on it at that point. Okay. Right now we're going to move into our public speaking period. And for the public speaking period, we'll have the folks who signed up come up and speak. When you come up, please state your name for the record. You have 4 minutes to speak. At the 3-minute mark, you'll get some indication. You'll also see the time in front of you. At the 4-minute mark, you'll get, thank you. All right, thank you. We'll take a little break. We'll allow folks to head out and then we'll get to the speakers. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started with our speakers. The first speaker I have here is Candaria Wright. Is Ms. Wright online? Ms. Wright, are you online? Okay, not online. Sabrina Powell? Is Ms. Powell online?
No.
All right, Miss Tony Gamills?
Can I hand these out?
Sure.
Or, I need another one. 1 second. Okay, did I just pass one with no? I didn't think, and then I want to pass this out, please. Featuring me. Putting the notes. Thank you. Okay. Oh. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for letting me come back again. I was here about a month ago and we are still talking about our situation in traffic and unsafe.
Ma'am, sorry, give me one second.
Area.
Let's,
Am I too close?
no, it's the sound. Yeah, can
I
you?
feel like I'm at a basketball game.
Can you also state your name and address for the record for me, please? Good to go?
Good to go? All right. So I want to talk about, we received the FOIL that we sent, and I just highlighted some information from it. If you look on the first page, and I made a packet, and I just said, in 2007, it says the planning board recommended the applicant meets the property owners to discuss concerns addressed at a meeting. We have never met with anyone, and I've been in that area. I've lived across the street we've all lived, we're all neighbors since 1989, exactly. Then it says that they had the opportunity to meet with us, which never occurred. And the planning board voted unanimously to approve whatever they were asking, and we've never met. On the next page, it also says that the residents at 22 Brookfield shall meet with the residents to set up periodic meetings, and that they should appeal to the zoning board for an impervious surface variance in order to create additional parking on the site. I think 3 spaces were added. I gave you a picture just to show you again. This is recent, a car parked on the wrong side of the street facing against traffic. I gave you other pictures that are showing you the garbage men the other day could not get through. They actually had to walk to get the garbage to bring it into the truck. And everybody was on our lawns, standing there, because nobody could pass in the street. So that's how we live. The next picture on the right shows cars back and forth. That's what we live with. All the traffic is going one way. The cars you see on the right are parked, nose to nose. The bottom left is a picture that I called the police about. My neighbor could not get out of her driveway. She called the police. They said, oh, isn't there another way? And there was not. And then the other 2 pieces, you will hear from my neighbor what occurred. Also, there's a tent that parking could be placed on that it's supposed to be, and I also gave you the building permit. It is a temporary tent, but the tent is not temporary. It is on cinder blocks or pavers. It is cemented into the ground. And in the winter, they put sides up and heating, which gives additional space for residents, for people to attend, but no additional parking. And that is why we are in the situation we are in. I also left the page about, and this is the most important page to me as I was reading it. If you look on the page with the parking zone, with the zoning that Mount Vernon has, there should be one space, one per 3 seats. Well, according to what I saw the other day, I counted 180 cars on our street. And let me tell you, there was not one person in those cars. I want you to read A, please, underneath. It says the location and size of the special permit use, respect to streets giving access to it are such that it will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. These pictures are not harmonious. They are dangerous and they are uncomfortable. We do not even know where they're coming from, the people who go there. It should not hinder or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and building. Well, of course, our own land, we can't even use our own homes. I can't get to it. And finally, operations in connection with any special permit use will not be more objectionable to nearby properties. And I don't understand how this could be a special permit, but nobody. I've been told it's a losing cause. I hope it's not. We really need to live harmoniously. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fabiana Azoni?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fabiana Zoni. I live on the 6 Monterey Drive, is close to the 22 Brookfield Road. Our situation is I have a disabled son. We use the bus every morning to go to school. And we had a situation June 6th, I think on Friday, they park everywhere. They don't respect any sign or corners or whatever. And there was no place to the bus to stop by to get my son. So at the time, there were people putting those signs for the election, and Judge Davis, he was there, and we know him from the city, and he told us to call the police, let him know what's going on. Their situation, you cannot get your son on the bus, and they will come, someone is gonna come, and these people are parking in the place they're not supposed to park. We called the police twice. The first time the guy said, oh, we're gonna send someone. The second time, the person who answered the phone said, oh, I'm looking here on the Google Maps, and you have a sidewalk. Why you don't use the sidewalk? Because the sidewalk was blocked. There's a picture where the bus usually stops to pick up my son, and they park on both sides of the street, so was no way the bus couldn't even get close to my house. And so what we did, we called the bus company, because when you give you the address, where's the address, they're supposed to stop and pick it up the child. We asked them if they could stop in the driveway or is around the house. And that day she did stop in there, but there was no way she even can't go around, and then I'm worried about if I had an emergency situation, how I'm gonna take my kid out of the house if they're blocking all the exits, and they don't respect. When we move in the house, they park on our driveway. And then when I called the police, they said they couldn't do anything because they're in my property. I said, so what should I do? And they said, well, that's not our problem. They're in your property. If they're blocking the driveway, we could come, but they're in your property, they're in my driveway. So in the end, the lady, she asked us to give the plate. We give the plate. They called the people. They didn't answer the phone. 2 hours later, they showed up and they said, oh, my friend told I could park here. There's not a problem to park here. I said, so it's our house, and you don't think it's a problem to park in a private property? And then they said, oh, there's nothing they park and that's it. There's not a problem. So I don't know if there's something we can do it to resolve this, have a solution for this problem, because for us who live there, we don't want to have any problem with them, but it is a problem for us. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Dolores Mack? Is Ms. Mack online? No? Okay. Ms. Patricia Richards? Is Ms. Richards online?
Yes, I am. Thank you. My name is Patricia Richards, and I don't wish to disclose my address at this time. It's an echo. Are you guys getting the feedback?
No, ma'am.
Okay. My first concern that I have, it's the motorists coming up Washington Street onto South Fulton. So there's no sign that states don't turn on red. And the motorists that come up, I guess they used to when the bridge was under construction, so that the Metro North Bridge was blocked off. So they still have the tendency of coming up Washington, and rather than stopping, they're going straight across to the other side of Washington. So I would wish for the city to put a do not turn on red sign there, because it's going to be a dangerous accident one of these days. Because nobody stops. They just go straight across, and then the oncoming car or vehicle on South Fulton will have their green and going, while those have their red and just go straight across. So that's one concern that I have. My other concern is the Mount Vernon High School. I have the opportunity of being there a few weeks ago, and I think it's in a dilapidated state, especially the auditorium. It's leaking from the roof, and I believe that our kids should have a better place of learning that is conducive to learning, and the entire auditorium is leaking. You could see where whenever it rains, you could see where it's leaking real bad, and also around the building, it needs some fixing. So I don't know what the city could do to assist. I know maybe it's for the Board of Education, but as a city, we need to protect our children also, because our children are our future. I don't really have any kids within the Mount Vernon district going to school, but I still have concern because I live there, and we have to take care of the future generation. That's the two concerns that I have at this time. Thank you.
I'm gonna circle back to some folks who weren't here initially. Did Miss Canderia Wright come in? And did she get in online? No? All right, how about Miss Sabrina Powell? No, and then Miss Dolores Mack? All right, we're gonna get into council responses. Gonna start with Councilman Boxell.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. And yeah, this issue about the mosque is ongoing. Can I just ask one question? Has there been any improvement in the past couple of weeks? Nothing same? All right, yeah. Yeah, please, can she come to me?
Yes, ma'am, can you come to the mic?
Yeah.
The only time we had improvement was the day after in May 1st, we had a meeting, and May 2nd, we had a Zoom meeting. And May 2nd, there was improvement, but never, everything has gone back to the way it was. During Id, cars started at 5:45 in the morning, and the congregation met on that portable tent supposedly.
Yeah.
And the noise everything started at 6:30. I don't know if we have a noise ordinance or what's going on, but at 6:30 in the morning, when you hear 5:45, you hear cars, and then this all happens all day. It's insane. It's wonderful that people want to worship and do things, but it's unfortunate that we are in a dangerous situation with people we don't know where they're coming from. So it has not improved.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm truly sorry that's happening. I'm under the inclination that we should enforce the ordinances that are in the books. So if they're blocking driveways, they should be ticketed or towed. I mean, I don't think it would be allowed anywhere else, so we should ramp up the enforcement over there.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, we can't have
Yeah,
you back and
so,
forth. but thank you.
we'll circle back on that and see what we can do about the ramping up enforcement. I think that's the only option at this point. That's both of you guys. The last speaker, Patricia Richards, yeah, we can definitely look at a traffic study for that corner and see what we can do as far as enforcement of the light or even changing the light orientation over there. So we'll see. But as far as Mount Vernon School, I agree with you. Our kids should not suffer, but that is not our jurisdiction. We can't do anything about the school district's buildings per se. So you would have to go to the school board meeting and make that same complaint about a leaky ceiling that observed. So that's all the comments that I have.
Thank you. Councilman Box Hill, Councilwoman Gleason?
Thank you, Madam President. So I happened to be driving by that day during the holiday. And I have been actively working with the police commissioner. He actually went over there that day. Once I saw all the cars, and there was actually no traffic moving whatsoever in that neighborhood. And I actually went over there on purpose because I figured it's Friday, let me see how we could do this. I did see somebody there, and I don't think it was a Mount Vernon police officer. I think it was their own security. So I've spoken to the police commissioner. The issue that we have over there, it's great to enforce if there's something there to enforce. Like if they're blocking your driveway, absolutely, right? We should be able to get somebody there to be able to say, hey, we got to get this moved or what have you. In that area, there isn't no parking zones. There are no parking zones. So I'm looking into the feasibility of that. And the other thing that I wanted to say was basically, I think that's basically it. But I am actively working on it. This is not going to be an overnight fix. Okay, so I'm not going to promise you, hey, I'm going to fix it next week. There's going to be a study done. Okay, and then we'll see what the feasibility of potentially, not promising you, potentially no parking zones in that area. And also trying to ask the mosque to be a good neighbor and see if you guys, this is a very interesting document and I really appreciate you doing the research on that. But also asking them to continue to do what they had agreed to. All right, thank you. And Mrs. Oni, I got that. Obviously, that's for all of you. But you could talk to us after, okay? Ms. Richards. Again, I've seen your concern also. I went down there. I have also alerted the police department to it. And our legislative aide, did you forward her complaint regarding the auditorium? I sent you an email today. Just check your email tomorrow. We have no purview over the school district. You can, lodge your complaint there. We will forward it off to the Board of Ed. But I would suggest that you follow up with your complaint regarding the auditorium to the Board of Ed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Thompson?
Thank you, Madam President. I know that this is mostly traffic and parking issues, so I will get our Director of Constituent Services involved, as well as our ordinance team and police officers. I think a police presence in and throughout to make sure everyone is obeying properties. I think that would be helpful, even if they're just passing through from time to time. I'll also speak to the mosque and see if they can partner with the school district. And it shouldn't be difficult to even get a little charter bus to charter them from the parking lot over to the mosque, just to make it a little easier so they can worship as well as respect the property owners that are in the area. So we'll see how we can work that out. It's an easy fix if everyone just comes to the table and tries to get it done, So because nothing is going on at the high school during their worship times. So if they partnered with the school district, they may have to pay a little money, but it would be a convenience for both the mosque and the homeowners. So we'll see how we can get that done, okay? Also with the parking and not obeying the traffic light over on Washington and South Fulton, we just need a police presence there. Just to get people familiar with seeing police there, and they'll start to obey because they see that someone is stationed there. So hopefully we can get that to happen. I'll talk to the commissioner about that. In regards to the leaks in the Mount Vernon High School, hopefully the school district does know that this is happening. If they don't, I'll bring it to Buildings and Grounds on tomorrow when I get to work. I'll call Buildings and Grounds because I'm sure if the students and parents know, the staff and trustees should know as well, you know? So I'll get on that and see what they're doing about that, and I'll have our legislative aide reach out to you to give you a response on what's happening. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Thompson. So first of all, thank you all for coming out tonight. It is hot outside, so I don't take it for granted that you showed up. You know, for the residents by 22 Brookfield Road, I completely understand your frustration and the safety hazard. I know they walked out, but hopefully you can relay it back. Yeah, so I think it is absolutely an enforcement thing. And you know, I think what happens with the directed patrols is they do it for 2 seconds and then they come off. So if we need to weekly remind them, we should do that because I think it's ridiculous, right? And especially people parking on your property and without permission. But I also think we need to address customer service because our officers can't respond to residents saying, what do you want me to do about it? Or use the sidewalk. We should get right out. And actually, if we can get the resident, when she can email me in the time and the number she called so that we can actually see who responded to that call. So there can be some corrective action. That'd be helpful as well. If she remembers, I know.
Yeah, because they're taped. The
Yeah,
calls are
so
taped.
the calls are taped, so if
They
you can
could
tell
do
me
it
the
after.
time frame and when they called, then we can see who did it and give them, you know, the proper training on how to address our residents. With the, yeah, and I also think it's a problem if we have, you know, a disabled individual who can't get to their transportation. So we should be responding much quicker to those situations. I think part of it is also with the temporary tent that Ms. Gamos was talking about. I'm going to put in a complaint with the building department to see so they can go out and inspect that temporary tent. If it's truly not temporary, then they will see a violation or they'll work with them to remove the tent. Yeah, it's going to be a process. As Councilman Gleason said, there's a traffic study that needs to be done, but there's a few avenues that we can approach this from. I understand that there's been meetings with the mosque and there hasn't been much leeway. So hopefully with Councilman Thompson reaching out, maybe they can set up some type of bus or some type of system from the high school to the mosque. But I do believe that they should be more accommodating to the residents around as well. I'm sorry?
They need a new parking plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps if they're not, I'll talk to buildings about the site plan that was reviewed. If they're not sticking to it, there may be another course as well. Ms. Richards, thank you for speaking tonight as well. It sounds like the other council members said that they'll address the traffic light and the enforcement with PD. So I'm positive that they'll be able to help you. When it comes to the school district, I don't disagree with you. Our children deserve the best. What I would recommend, as well as I know that council said they're going to forward the complaint, but if you can attend the school board meeting as well, they have meetings very similar to us. So they handle all of the school's property. And, you know, I think they'll be responsive to it and try to see if they can get some fixes in the auditorium. That is all I have. Are there any additional questions or concerns or thoughts from council?
No, I think Derek's suggestion about the shuttle, that's a great idea. And
Well, we said that the last time too.
Yeah.
We were talking about that the last time, like they really need to come up with a better parking plan.
sure.
And the whole reason I drive by there all the time. And that day, because the holy day, I wanted to see what it looked like. I mean, you could not move down the street.
Right.
There was no movement and the security guards in the middle, like, you know, and there's cars everywhere.
I've actually been to service at that mosque before, and it is bad. It's bad.
I've gone for one of their services once, I forgot what the event was for, but it's a safety hazard first. You know, God forbid someone is having a medical emergency. Ambulances, fire trucks, nothing can get through. It's a safety hazard.
Correct.
So we have to make sure that we're putting safety first. And God forbid someone is just trying to rush to a loved one. They can't even get out of their houses comfortably to get to where they have to go. So we definitely have to rectify that. And it doesn't have to end up nasty. It's just a conversation. Have a conversation with the mosque, have a conversation, see if they can have a conversation with the school district. If they can get that partnership going, get some paperwork filled out, maybe they can utilize the parking lot because you can fit hundreds of cars in there. And then they can probably partner with even our recreation department or youth bureau to see if they can partner with them to get their small buses to shuttle. And it'll cost them a little something, but just the convenience of everything, I think it will be beneficial. So we can see how we can work that out. Okay?
So I assume you're gonna handle that conversation, Councilman Thompson? All right, awesome. Again, ladies, thank you for coming out. I hope you have a great evening. Stay cool. We're gonna move into the tally sheet, actually. So we're gonna start with thank you. Have a good night. Let's start with legislation and public works.
Oh, thank you, Madam President. Took me off guard. Okay, item number 1, Rose Wangisa Wakanda, an ordinance authorizing the hosting of the Wakanda Celebration 2025 event, Saturday, August 30th, 2025, that is being called for. Item number 2, Grace Baptist Church, an ordinance authorizing a special event permit for Grace Baptist Church's annual 5K walk run for education to be held on July 19th, rain date July 26th. That is on the agenda. We received all notifications from all departments.
Yes.
Everything okay? Okay. Item number 3, Department of Public Works, an ordinance authorizing the advertisement for bids for various public works construction equipment rentals. Pardon me. That's on the agenda. That is all I believe. I don't believe I have any add-ons. And I am complete. Do you have any questions?
Madam President.
Councilman Thompson?
Yes, just in regards to item number 1, I did reach out to Ms. Rose the day before yesterday. What's today? Yes. Yes, day before yesterday. And no, it was yesterday. Sorry. Yeah, we were here the day before yesterday. It was yesterday morning I spoke with her. And I got a little information from her. I'm going to follow up because I just want to do some checks and balances before it comes back to the council, so we'll have the full picture. So on our next meeting, when it's on the tally sheet to meet the agenda, we can vote that.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna figure, I actually spoke to also Jamie Dickinson, and so I think one of the questions we need answered is PD recommended that the street be closed. And I think there's a few of us concerned about the street closure. So what I would love to hear from PD is whether or not, if the street isn't closed, would they still have no problem with it? Right?
Well, my concern, I spoke to Ms. Rose and I told her my concern was, she said they weren't expecting that many people because they didn't get the funding they needed and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, even if she said, well, she owns one property, her family owns the other properties, and everyone there said it's okay. And she said, a person who had an issue with it no longer lives there. They sold their house on the adjacent block. But I said, it all depends on how many people, you can say you're expecting 75 and then 300 come and they spill over into the block that you did not block off. And the concern before, I believe it was 2-3 years ago, was the trash and thing that lingered in people's lawns and people's driveways being blocked and things of that nature. So I'll just do a couple of checks and balances with the people who signed the petitions to say it's okay. And speak with the police department, making sure that, I know she said there's not much funding this year, but what do they have in place in regards to paying the police during those street closures? Because we definitely need public safety there, and what other things are gonna be in place. And we can see how it works, and if it does not meet the following year, then we won't entertain it.
Thank you. Any other questions for legislation and public work?
So there's no, the Trapegan discussion is off the table now, is that?
Because they don't have funding, they don't have the funding that they had last year. I know the school district wants them to pay $5,000 to utilize the school. And then they have to also pay for the staff that, because in order for any school property to be open, you have to have an administrator, the cleaning crew and everyone there from buildings and grounds. So they didn't get the funding to fully equipped for that this year. So that's why they want to do it on the block where the house is. Like I said, I always mention to people Brush Park. I think Brush Park is one of the best parks to have an event. I know a lot of people like Memorial Field, but when you talk about the turf and the things you have to do to protect the turf, it's not as convenient as a dirt and grass area like Brush Park. So I'll converse with her again and I'll get back to you.
I was there last year when they had it at Trapegan. I mean,
It's beautiful.
yeah, but the turnout was huge.
It was feasible and it's always gonna be a big turnout. There will never be less than 100 people. So she said they're not expecting a large crowd, but once it's publicized, the crowds will come. And we just wanna make sure that we have enough public safety, we have a convenient space, but we're also respecting other people's properties while these things are going on.
And are they gonna have vendors selling food and such like that?
She said there's only supposed to be one vendor and they may be backing out.
For food?
That's our conversation. She said, one vendor, I don't know if it was for food or for selling clothes, I don't know. But she said it was just one vendor.
Cause I mean, like what President Brown was saying, that sounds like shutting down the block, you know?
But like I said, if we shut down one block, if the masses come, it's gonna spill over to blocks that weren't shut down. And then it becomes a safety issue and it also becomes an issue for those people who can't get into their driveways comfortably. So I have another conversation with her and get back to you all.
Anybody spoke to the school district? I mean,
Well, the price is the price, so either they get the funds to be able to pay for that, or, you know, they have to look another route.
I think
But once again,
something's better than nothing, you know?
once again, Brush Park is much cheaper than the school district, but she doesn't like Brush Park, but I think she should reconsider that.
Hey,
So also with the loss of funding that I think they were able to pay a lot more last year for a lot of things that they have, which made it so spectacular. I mean, it was great. It was like being in a concert. You know, I thought it was fantastic. And her only having one vendor, I mean, I think really this time, the center of this Wakanda event is going to be the museum in the house, how it originally was from the very beginning. But again, the neighbors had a very hard time and it's Labor Day weekend, right? So I don't know. I thought, I mean, do we have permission from the neighbors? Didn't we require that the last?
They
one?
have a petition and I'll reach out to those who
Okay.
signed the petition, to
Okay.
ensure that they actually signed the petition and they're okay. And once I get all evidence, I'll report back to the council with my findings.
Yeah, I mean, if other people can get out without a problem and they don't have a problem with it, but I mean, I share your concern also, but if it's gonna be scaled down, I don't know. Shutting down a city street is always a hard thing to do, especially on a holiday. So I look forward to your research.
Thank you. Any other questions for legislation and public works? Good. Human resources?
Thank you, Madam President, soon to be honorable judge. From the Youth Bureau, I have item number 4, which will be on the agenda, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County Youth Bureau to support the 2025 Summer Youth Employment and Training Program in the amount of $16,666.67 from July 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2025. Number 5 is on the agenda from the clerk's office, a resolution honoring the Hall of Fame induction of George Latimer. That's on the agenda. Item number 6 is on the agenda, the induction of Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson into the Hall of Fame at Mount Vernon High School as well. Item number 7 is also on the agenda, a resolution posthumously commending Elise Finch on her induction on the Hall of Fame as well. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Thompson. Gonna move on to public safety and codes. The chair isn't here, so can his co-chair cover that, please?
Sure, Madam President, soon to be honorable judge. I have item number 8 from the Buildings Department, which will be on the agenda. Department of Buildings and Ordinance authorizing the establishment of time limits on dormant building department applications. Item number 9 from the Building Department, which will be on the agenda. An ordinance authorizing the amendment of ordinance number 18 adopted by the City Council on February 11th, 2025, entitled an ordinance requiring code enforcement officials to attend New York State Building Officials Conference. That's on the agenda. Item number 10 is on the agenda from Public Safety. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease renewal agreement with 1978 Third Avenue LLC and 11285 Ave LLC for Suite 407 located at 6 Bremerton Avenue. Item number 11 is on the agenda. Department of Public Safety and ordinance authorizing 2 members of service to attend the Mechanical Breaching Instructor School in Wayne, New Jersey, which is July 22nd and 24th through the 24th. That's on the agenda. Item number 12 is on the agenda from Public Safety, an ordinance authorizing 1 member of service to attend the initial response to active shooter training, July 10th through July 11th, 2025. That's on the agenda. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Thompson. Finance and Planning,
I have a question.
Councilman Gleason.
Not really a question. I did speak to the police commissioner regarding item number 10. And they have not been able to identify a city-owned property for where it has the type of access that's necessary for this particular unit. So I just wanted to add that. And
Who
leave it at
they
that.
work with to identify that property?
I'm sorry?
Who they work with to identify that property?
I asked them if they work with the comptroller's office.
And they work with the comptroller?
That was my impression.
Well, the comptroller just,
I know.
and Comptroller Morton,
Comptroller Morton? Can you come to the podium?
welcome.
Yeah.
Have you had conversations with the Commissioner of Public Safety about a venue or city-owned property for the Internal Affairs Office?
I'm sorry?
Have you had a conversation with the interim police commissioner about city-owned property where they can house internal affairs?
Not recently.
Okay.
No, I mean, there might have been some time where there was some discussion about some location. I think we talked about maybe one,
Has it been in the last couple of months?
Yeah, last couple months.
no.
No? All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'm texting the police commissioner. I'll get right back to you.
All right, awesome. And do we remember which
Can I
Councilman
just keep
Thompson?
the comptroller abreast of why we, they asked the question, comptroller, because, you don't have to respond, but the reason is they're looking to utilize a space at 6 Bremerton Avenue. And our question to them was to look to see if there were any city-owned properties that they can utilize instead of us spending money to utilize, a suite at 6 Bremerton Avenue.
Okay, so do we know if that, if there's gonna be a need for the public to go into that facility? Okay,
So it's a secure space that, what the premise behind it was, is that people were, that needed to go and speak to IEB, the Internal Affairs Unit, were intimidated by going into police headquarters. So they identified another space at 6 Bremerton, and they've been renting that for the last, I believe it's the last year. And last year we had asked the same question, and I remember your answer last year was, there was none that, were prepared for that. That some of the city-owned properties needed renovations and they, we weren't in a space to do that at that time.
correct. But so since that time, yeah, so same thing with DPW too. I mean, DPW, was the DPW or the water? And water with the water sewer crew or some of the lead crew that they had. I said to them, if you remember, every time they come to the board of estimates, I'm always about, let's look at this lease so we can figure out where we could shift them. So we did have a conversation about Stevens Avenue, right, 120. And I think I asked the assistant architectural engineer, Joe Pemberton, to go over and look at it. And so we could, at some point, be able to look at that, but as long as it wasn't going to be one of those spaces where you had a massive public going in and out, or they had to configure it so that the first floor, because it is accessible to get in, but if there's anything on the second floor, then it's not, right? So we could look at that. If we're going to approve something, I think we should do it, make sure that the leases are not long-term, that's all.
The issue is, we said that, last year we said that,
Yeah.
and there's been no movement to, get the space. I'm sure they didn't coordinate with your office to kind of figure out how that space should be done.
Right,
so
I think
that-
at one point they went over there and looked at it, and they might have said that it might not have been appropriate for something, but we can look at some other things.
So, if it's the pleasure of the council, you wanna, call for it on the floor?
It's up to you guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's not my committee,
It's not my committee either. I
so,
mean, I guess it is.
co-chair?
Just trying to.
The second vote on it, right?
Second.
It's the second vote on it. So if it's not called for, it might not pass.
My question is, if this doesn't go through, what's gonna happen with their current space? Are they just, logistically, what's gonna happen?
You'd have to ask the commissioner that, I mean, or the chief. This is why I always like when commissioners come, when they have something on the agenda.
I don't see how we can not approve this right now without a alternative plan in place,
You don't see how we cannot approve it?
I mean, what's the alternative? At
Right,
this point?
well, the lease is for 1 year. I think,
Comptroller Martin,
thank you.
the lease is for 1 year.
The lease is here for 1 year. So it says the base rent is $1,802.50, which will come to $21,630 annually. The electricity is $206 a month, which will come to $2,472 annually. So total monthly installment is $2,008.50, and total fixed annual rate will be $24,102.
When
Okay, but
does the lease terminate?
1 year.
The 1 year, so it's saying from August 1st, 2025 and ending July 31st, 2026.
Can we have Deputy Chief Addison on the line? Deputy Chief, can you go ahead?
Yes, when we had been looking through the different departments within the city to see if they had space that was open to the public 24 hours a day that were securable. So planning, other departments within the city. The conversation that we had with the comptroller, and the comptroller is correct. We had a conversation about 120 Stevens. That was not an ideal location, and it also needed some renovation. As to the 6
Explain, it
Grammaton,
wasn't an ideal. Can you explain what do you mean by it wasn't an ideal location?
we wanted them to be off campus because the complaints over and over again were about the police department. They felt like it was intimidating. So we were looking for a location where the public would have 24-hour access. So if we're looking inside of City Hall is not open 24 hours a day. It would not be a location that we could go and have the public respond in. Internal Affairs works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So when you say off campus, is 120 Stevens not off campus?
It would be, but it would need renovations, and that wasn't immediately available.
Right, last year though. Do we know why there was no work done on it to get it up to par for this year?
That would not be something that I would have knowledge about, because I don't know if we ever moved forward with going and stating that the police department was going to renovate it.
Thank you. Any questions for Deputy Chief Addison? Thank you.
I know the next two resolutions, there were questions about whether or not somebody was going to go to training in New Jersey. Do we want to go and discuss that now or when they come up?
Sure.
All right, the New
Which training?
Jersey,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
the breaching training, that is the only breaching training between now and December 31st throughout the entire country. And as for the active shooter training that was put out by the training unit, there was only one person who requested to go to the training. So they're going to attempt to go and find a second person, but that was the only person that was interested in the training when they put it out.
Madam President?
Councilman Gleason?
Deputy Chief, how are we getting the information out to the officers when it comes to these trainings? And the only reason why I'm gonna ask you is that I had a group of police officers not knowing, that certain training was available, and a rumor went around the department that basically that there was no money in the training line, and so how does the actual information get out to the rank and file when it comes to these trainings, so that we make sure that any officers who want to go have access to it?
All right, so there's 3 different ways that we do it. There are training orders that go out asking for people that are interested in the training to submit an internal memo through their chain of command to the training unit with their qualifications. That will be the first way. The second way is if there's just a general request, we send a department-wide email out to all members of service. And then the third way is there's literally a old-fashioned paper bulletin board outside the training office with all these trainings. They're posted. Every officer walks down that hallway, can see all these trainings.
Okay, can we add like a notification to the PBA? Is that possible, or would that be inappropriate?
They would all be members that would already have access into the emails. They would see the bulletin boards and they would sit there and see the order. So there's no one that's in the PBA that wouldn't be notified with one of those 3 ways.
All right, no problem. I mean, it sounds like you guys are thorough with the notification. I just wanted to make sure that people were getting those notifications. Thank you.
Madam President, so can we go back to my question? So, Deputy Chief, I don't know if you heard my question. If this doesn't go through, what is the alternative? If this lease is not renewed, August?
That we would cause discomfort to the community by now moving the internal affairs unit back inside the police department, which I think that was something that the Department of Justice report said that we needed more ways for the community to go and submit complaints. So I don't know if coming back inside the police department when the complaint was that they didn't feel comfortable would be the right move.
Understood. And when you say intimidated, you're talking about like if I want to make a complaint about a particular officer, maybe seeing that officer when I walk in the actual headquarters.
Correct. Or the complaints about a supervisor and that supervisor is sitting at the desk and that complaint
Right.
now was handled by the supervisor that the complaint was against.
All right, understood. All right, thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions for Deputy Chief Edison? Awesome. Finance and planning?
That is me. Number 13, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Catalyst Enterprise, for software services, 9600 from July 15, 2025 through July 14, 2026. That's on the agenda. And number 14, in the Department of Assessment, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for Catalyst Enterprise, professional services for $35,000. That's from July 15, 2025 to July 14, 2026. And that is also on the agenda. And those are all the items I have.
Thank you. All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Box Hill,
Present.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Here,
Councilman Potteet is absent, Councilman Thompson,
Here.
Council President Brown.
here.
Thank you.
Legislation and Public Works?
Thank you, Madam President. It's got the wrong one. Item number 1, Grace Baptist Church, an ordinance authorizing a special event permit for Grace Baptist Church's annual 5K walk run for education to be held on July 19th, 2025. Rain date July 26th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Item number 2, Department of Public Works, an ordinance authorizing the advertisement for bids for various public works construction equipment rentals. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye. Human Resources?
Thank you, Madam President. Item number 3, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County Youth Bureau to support the 2025 Summer Youth Employment and Training Program. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye. Do we have a motion to take items 4, 5, and 6 as a block vote?
Sure, I make a motion that we take items 4, 5, and 6 as a block vote.
A second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Item number 4, resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, commending Congressman George Latimer on the occasion of his induction into the Mount Vernon High School Hall of Fame. Item number 5, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, honoring, commending Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson on her induction into the Mount Vernon High School Hall of Fame. Item number 6, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, posthumously commending Elise Finch on the occasion of her induction into the Mount Vernon High School Hall of Fame. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye. Public Safety and Codes.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item number 7, an ordinance authorizing the establishment of time limits on dormant buildings department applications. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Abstention. I wasn't able to find the same things in other municipalities. But I also was limited on time as well, so I'll just abstain, you know.
So they need a second vote.
Yeah.
Item number 8, from the Department of Buildings, an ordinance authorizing the amendment of ordinance number 18 adopted by the City Council on February 11th, 2025, entitled an ordinance requiring code enforcement officials to attend the New York State Building Officials Conference. So move.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
No?
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
That's the ordinance.
Yep.
Item number 9, from the Department of Public Safety, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease renewal agreement with 1978 Third Avenue LLC and 11285 Ave LLC for Suite 407 located at 6 Bremerton Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. So move.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
This one I'm very conflicted on, because I voted no the last time. So I am going to vote yes with a very strong statement that is, I do not want to come back at this juncture next year without them finding a city-owned property where we do not have to pay rent to somebody. And I think that there's plenty of those properties that we could figure it out. And maybe within the next 6 months, that can happen. And I would encourage the department heads and the committee chairs to make sure that they stay on top of the situation. So, yes.
thank you. Councilman Thompson,
Yes, I concur with Gleason, so just they need to partner with DPW so they have a full year to get a property ready and ready to go for next year. So my vote is yes.
thank you. Council President Brown,
No.
passes.
Yes. Item number 10, Department of Public Safety, and ordinance authorizing 2 members of service to attend the mechanical breaching instructor school in Wayne, New Jersey from July 24th through the July 22nd to the 24th. So move.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Last item, number 11, an ordinance authorizing 1 member of service to attend the initial response to active shooter training, which is July 10th through the 11th, 2025. So move.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye. Finance and planning?
Thank you. Number 12, Department of Assessment, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Catalyst Enterprise, for software services of $9,600 from July 15, 2025 through July 14, 2026. So moved.
Second.
On the question?
I just have a statement to make. Have there been, maybe this could be directed to Morton, Comptroller Morton at some point, but I don't know if it's them or clerk's office or even the corporation counsel's office. But have we put any matrix in place that would, this is like 2 weeks away. This, the ending of that contract, right? Is there any matrix in place to try and mitigate these things before they come to us?
When you say ended, I mean, it's gonna start.
July 14th? Was the start date, July 15th?
Yeah. July 15.
I'm just making a statement, that's all. Like, we've got to start to get on that a little bit more when it comes to renewal contracts and stuff. It may not pertain to this one, but just in general.
Okay.
That's all.
No, I think when it first came before us, it was going to be retro. So, or, yeah. And you pointed it out and, we got new dates. So,
Roll call?
Councilman Box Hill,
aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
All right, number 13, Department of Assessment and Ordinance, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for Catalyst Enterprise, professional services for $35,000. And this is from July 15, 2025 to July 14, 2026. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call?
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye. Do we have a motion to accept Grace's petition for processing?
I'll make a motion to accept Grace Baptist's petition for processing of their application for a new project. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call?
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye. Any, yes, aye. Any, questions, comments? I'm gonna go with Gleason first.
Yes, last week we had a devastating loss for the city of Mount Vernon, in Juan Peralta Senior, who was a part of the tree crew for the Department of Public Works here in Mount Vernon. And I would like to ask that we do a moment of silence for him at the end of this meeting, and I'd also like everybody to know that he is having a wake this Monday, June 30th. I encourage everybody to come out and support the Peralta family, because not only was Juan Peralta Senior a DPW employee, his son is now the newly appointed chief of the fire department. So it's at Yanatuano on Gramerton Avenue on Monday from 4 to 8 p.m. Please make every effort. Our DPW worked so hard, and this was a very freak accident. So my heart goes out to the Peralta family.
Councilman Thompson?
Yes, keep the Peralta family in your prayers. Gleason gave you the services, but also keep the Jones family in your prayers, because Leslie Jones lost her son, Chris. Just life is life, and so many things that happen. So let's continue to be there for one another, encourage one another. But with that being said, I also like to congratulate everyone in the election yesterday. It was a low voting turnout. However, there were many successes. So I'd like to congratulate our city council president, Danielle Brown, because she won her primary. Yes. She won her Democratic primary. And hopefully, in November, she will win that unanimously, landslide, if you will, and hopefully we can call her Honorable Judge Danielle Rebecca Brown. Also, winning the primary, we had our very own Councilwoman Caitlin Gleason. She won her Democratic primary as well. So congratulations to you. Also, our comptroller won his Democratic primary. So Comptroller Morton, congratulations to you on your re-election. And I know we have Cynthia Turnquest Jones in the audience over there. And she won her primary as well. So congratulations to you, my dear. And Andre Wallace won his primary as well. So congratulations to him. And I look forward to just working continuously to do what's best for our city, because we don't need any chaos, but we need to come together and always put Mount Vernon first. We don't always have to agree, but we should never be disagreeable. Let's move ourselves out of the way and get the work done for Mount Vernon's residents. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just piggyback off of that, sincerest condolences to the Peralta family. Truly, truly tragic. I plan on being there at the wake. So thank you for the information. And congratulations, President Brown. Good to meet Judge Brown. Galen Gleason, welcome back. I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
Cynthia Turnquist Jones, who is in the house tonight. She's already getting to work, so congratulations. Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
Thank you. Madam President, can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
I think, I love the fact that Councilmember-elect Turnquest Jones came to the meeting tonight. That just shows, I've worked with Cynthia before. And Cynthia's work ethic is incredible. It's second to none. She's a researcher. She's a reader. I'm happy to welcome you onto the team. But this is also another indication of somebody who really wants what's best for Mount Vernon. She gets elected less than 24 hours ago, and she's in the room. So I think that we're going in the right direction. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I also want to echo, prayers and condolences to the Peralta family. Tragic incident here in Mount Vernon. And, especially when someone dies in the line of service. So definitely want to just send condolences there. Also want to congratulate the Democratic primary winners. And also the folks who actually ran, right, who didn't win. Running for office is never easy, especially running in Mount Vernon, right? So it takes courage, it takes commitment, it takes a deep love for this community. And I commend everyone for stepping up to serve. And I just wish Mount Vernon continued success. I hope that we all work together to move our city forward, because Mount Vernon has the potential to be great. We just got to realize it. But that's all I have. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Hi, have a great. Just kidding. Moment of silence.